The indicator was interest. They wanted to know what interest rates would do just at a suggestion of Mr. Bernanke, and they did. I want to describe what this is so you can understand it. There is what is called a 7-day repo rate, a benchmark rate of funding between banks that goes on every day. It's perfectly normal. Billions of dollars change hands worldwide every night while you're sleeping, and that rate remains fairly steady at about 3.3%. Now, I have warned you in the past that my elite friend told me over a year and a half ago that there was a sign, the final sign before the collapse of every currency in the world would be a rise in interest rates when Mr. Bernanke would announce that the interest rates would rise. And he has told me in the past, he said, Chaplain, whenever that happens, any paper that you have not gotten out of, you've lost it. It's gone. You don't have time to get it. This is exactly what the elite wanted to find out. In this test, this guinea pig that they made out of you on that day, and the banks, when nobody knew what they were doing, they watched that 3.3% between banks, and it went to, oh my goodness, it went to 8.26% by the middle of the next day. By the next night, it had gone to 12.33% in China, and China had the largest bank in the country, and this is so important, China, because I'm going to bring it out later in my presentation. The ICBC Bank in China had a benchmark 7-day repo rate funding between banks that went up in China of 12.33%, and across America the rate went up, and it literally stopped the interbank funding for about 48 hours. And if the elite had allowed this to continue, every currency in the world and every bank in the world would have collapsed by Monday morning. My phone started ringing. They said, Chaplain, what is going on? The banks are going to collapse. There'll be closures on Monday morning. Those who knew, those who have listened to what my elite friend had told me, those who knew that the interest rate is so vitally important, and that Bernanke had made this statement, and my phone was ringing, and they said, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Well, I'd already talked with my elite friend, and on the phone he said, Chaplain, everything will be all right by Monday morning. He said, this is only a test. We wanted to see what would happen. And they did. They found out that all they've got to do is have the Federal Reserve Chairman to say a certain thing, and that rate begins to climb. And when it begins to climb to the place that they want it, and to keep it there, within 24 hours time, they can collapse every currency and close every bank in the world by a Monday morning, and they can do it in a 24-hour period. They've already run the test, and they know exactly what they can do, and they know how they can do it. Why? 1 week later, I began looking at the statistics. Are you ready? These are going to be startling. 1 week later, because of the test, which only lasted 4 days, and then they straightened it out by Monday morning because they weren't ready for the collapse yet. Folks, I keep trying to tell you, the elite are not ready for the collapse yet. They are going to let it happen. And you've got to get ready. But they're not. Okay, what happened? 1 week later, I looked at the statistics. You ready? The global derivative, you've heard me say that derivatives are what they're going to use to collapse the currencies of the world. They'll do it by raising interest rates. Just for that 3 to 4 day period, I want to show you what happened just because of the test. The global derivative market suffered within 7 days a staggering $300 trillion in losses. Now, I didn't say million. I didn't say billion. You heard me correctly. The derivative market in the world today is estimated at 1 quadrillion. Do you realize that $300 trillion? Now, you say, wait a minute. We've only got a $17 trillion national debt. That is a drop in the bucket. Within 3 days' time, the global derivative market suffered a